All right. Hi, this is Lauren Darr, and I am here with a cool company called Tagg. And introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Jeff Zotaro with Tagg the Pet Tracker.
Nice to meet you, Jeff. Jeff, tell me what trends and patterns that you are seeing in the pet industry overall.
Personally, and from a business standpoint, I think the biggest trend we're seeing now is the ability for one to connect with their pet on a creating more of a deepened relationship with their pet through what we call the quantitative self. So the quantitative self is kind of a kind of Fitbit for what you typically would be thinking about it as Fitbits, and now we've kind of created the Fitbit for dogs, and it's Tagg GPS Pet Tracker. But what the trend is that we're seeing is people want to know what their dog is doing, they want to know how long they're doing it for when they're away from home, and they're wanting to measure that. They're wanting to compare it to other dogs across the country, and I think that's what we're seeing from a trending standpoint. More and more devices coming out, and we're super excited to, of course, be here at Global Pet Expo and see all these new devices that are coming out.
Very cool. So this could help somebody with, especially if they're wanting to do training for themselves and their pet. Am I right about that?
Absolutely. What is interesting is there's two benefits to measuring your dog's activity. The first is that you can report the results to your vet. Close to 60% of our pets, dogs specifically, are overweight right now, and we are wanting to work with vets all across the country to provide them a way to measure the activity. And currently, there hasn't been any way of doing that. So that's one way that is a benefit. So as far as getting your dog to lose weight, because we can decrease food, but we also have to increase activity. The flip side is, as you just mentioned, is that we also have the ability for us to be motivated. So when I'm walking my dog, I know that not only my dog is getting exercise, but I'm getting exercise. And we actually had a recent case study where a physician had started walking the dog and using Tagg the GPS Pet Tracker as actual device to measure how much activity they were doing. So they said, forget the Fitbit. I don't need to spend money on that. My dog already has Tagg. Let me just see if my dog is getting 400 Tagg points, then I'm obviously getting enough walking. And so vets, I think, recommend anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes of activity per day. And typically, even myself, sometimes I take my dog out for 10 minutes, and you think that that's enough, but it's not. And so we're really on this mission, quite frankly, is to really get pets more active.
Well, that's an awesome mission because I have a friend that is a vet,
Okay.
and she specializes in rehabilitation and conditioning. And shout out to Dickie, hello.
Hello.
And and one thing that she talks about is a lot of people don't even realize, frankly, that their pets are even overweight.
Well, the interesting thing is that in a recent survey, 95% of Americans said that their pets were of average weight. Yet 60% of them, the vets say, are overweight. So there's this huge gap of perception and reality. And the best way we can do that is having the vets be more proactive and explaining that, hey, your pet needs to lose a little bit more weight here and become more active. But more importantly, have a measurement tool like Tagg GPS Pet Tracker that actually tells you. And the way that it works is it's got an accelerometer in there. And so as your dog moves or rests or gets super active, it tells you exactly. So you not only you know where your dog is throughout the day, but you know in segments whether he's sleeping or light activity or heavy activity. And the important thing is a vet recently told me is that when you come home from a long day's worth of work, your pet is full of adrenaline and they're excited, they're jumping around and they're having fun. And so you think your dog is okay. What our product does, and other products out there, is that they can measure the trending. So we're talking about trends here today. You can measure the trend of where your pet is because it's not just one day. It's what a pet is doing over 30 days or 60 days. And so what vets have explained to me is that, let's say, for example, you leave the house. That's when you really want to look specifically at your trending numbers because the adrenaline is in there in the morning, the adrenaline there is at night. But what's going on when you're away for 8 hours? And so if you see your pet getting 400 Tagg points per day, and all of a sudden you're getting 200 Tagg points per day, but you would never have known that if you didn't have this kind of device. You would think that your dog is normal and doesn't have any problems. But what that can do is it can prevent some disease and different conditions. So your vet friend there would tell you that if you are going 200 versus 400 Tagg points, you probably want to bring him in for a checkup to kind of get an idea of what might be wrong. And diabetes, cancer, a lot of these things are created by first the overweight, and people just they feed their dogs too much as well. So that's a whole nother topic. But but yes, it's a work site.
Probably guilty.
Me too. All the little treats that we give our dog because we want to make them happy. So being able to measure, I think, is the largest trend now, and you see it throughout the country with Fitbits and all the different apps out there that you can download to see how many steps you took. So we now have finally found a way to measure how many steps our dogs are taking and measure how many calories they're burning each and every day.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you taking the time out to explain what you're doing and some patterns that you're seeing. It's great
Absolutely.
information and it's great advice for everybody. Thank you.
You're welcome.